Okay, so here we go. Week 7. We are 1 week away from being finished. So here's what the plan is. Let me go to Canvas first just to show people what there is, and then I will, in the discussion for the week, like where I always post things. So this week I tried to do, and I think I did this very early in the session, but I tried to put this document that everybody should be able to access, even if you can't access it directly from your screen. Like I tried to make it so you could, but it depends on your device. So if you can't do that, you can always just click this link and it'll open up. And so all it is a place to, as you're revising your essay and working on it this week to try to get to the final draft, if you have a question, I mean, it can be a very specific question about your specific essay, or it can be a general question or whatever. You could copy and paste part of your essay into this, one of these things, just and put your name there. And what I'm hoping is that, if everybody sort of puts all their questions in one place and I can answer them all there, then that should help. I'm hoping it'll help more than just one person, right? So if someone has a question and I answer it, and you just happen to be looking at it, that might help you too. So in the discussion for week 7, that's where you can get to this document, which I wanted to use as a sort of like a, I don't know, bulletin board, I guess, for questions specifically. The other thing that's on that document or below it, if you scroll down, is the rubric for the final essay, right? So you could look through this, see if you have a question about some element. At this point, I think I've commented on everybody's essays. So you have my comments, you should have your peer review should be done. And so you have all of that information that you're using to revise. So that's the one thing. So make use of this. Any question at all, just put it in there, and I will just basically keep my eye on this and respond as quickly as possible. So that's the one thing I want.
This is a discussion board.
Yeah, it's on the discussion board for week 7. The other things I have up so far is I have a very sort of brief PowerPoint, not very many slides, but it's what about like writing a good conclusion, right? Because most people now will try to, fix their conclusion just for the final draft. So, so that's just a quick thing about what your conclusions are supposed to do. I don't think it's really very long. So if people want to look it through that, that should help you. The other thing I have here is this worksheet that I basically made out of the global revision process, right? So that's what this week is about. There's like these 6 different levels of revision that they sort of focus on, and I'm going to go through those. And there's a worksheet here. Yeah, so I basically go through each of the stages, right? Except like 5 and 6, it's just about like proofreading and editing. But I go through level 1, what you're supposed to do for level 1, level 2. So these are all things you're supposed to be looking at. All I did was I sort of created a worksheet just to, make it sort of more active for people. Because some people, that helps them revise. Um, but it's not an assignment. It's just a supplementary thing that you can use. Okay. So I'm going to sort of go over. So the main assignment this week is finishing this essay, and then there's also the discussion board. So let me get my point here where I'm going to. Okay, so week 7, and I'll probably post this PowerPoint too, right? So it has, these are all the different things you have. There's the textbook, the readings, a lot of it you've read. So it's sort of reviewing the lesson about setting up a revision calendar time, which we'll talk about. That the discussion helps us do that. and there's two parts to the discussion. There's one where you're basically saying, here's my plan for revising, like the day and the times that you're going to use to revise your essay. And then you have a rewards plan, which is what are you going to do to take care of yourself or reward yourself or help yourself as you go through each of these things, each of the stages. And then there's the weekly quiz also. So okay, so here's the discussion. So the discussion post for you for this week, right? There are two parts. So the first main post, the first part, basically a paragraph. In a full paragraph, you're basically just explaining what your schedule is for your revision and what stage you're on at the moment and how it's working for you. So like which days and time slots on your calendar. So, and I saw somebody had already started, someone's already posted something, but made it very clear. I'm going to work on it this day for an hour, this other day for an hour, whatever. So that's you coming up with. It's just that once you assign yourself that task, which we all know this already, but right, but once you assign it, then it helps you like get it done, I guess. So explain why you're choosing these days and times, right? This is very just logistical, right? I'm picking this because I don't have to work that day or whatever, right? Just the reasons that you're going to do that, and the time periods. So why did you choose the days? That's the other thing. And then the last thing is you're talking about the stage of the global revision stage that you are in. And that is.
What is the stage of global revision?
Yeah, I just had it. Yeah, let me show you. Open. This is in the lesson. So they also talk about this in the lesson, but this is what it is. So there are these 6 levels: levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Level 1 is basically, so you're going over. It's sort of like you start going over elements that are very broad in your essay, and then each step is sort of you're narrowing your focus. So you're revising, you're looking to see, is there anything? So global revisions is basically like you're looking at the main ideas that you're writing about, right? And you're trying to be like, okay, so is this idea completely developed? Is this idea, do I have enough evidence? Do I need to put more evidence? So that's sort of the idea for the structure. So you're looking at that, your essay as a whole, the introduction, the body paragraphs, and the conclusion, what parts of them might need to be revised. Then you have section revisions. So this means that you turn your attention and you just focus on each section. You look only at the introduction and decide what you can figure out about, how to develop or improve the introduction. Then you look at your first main point that you're developing and talking about and what you might need to do there. Your second main point, your third main point, and then your conclusion. So you're just sort of looking at things like a section. So the first level 1 is I'm looking at my entire essay and seeing what are some of the elements I'm missing. Maybe I don't really have an introduction, so I need to sort of fix that, whatever. Next move is looking at each section and within it, right? So now I'm going to look at the introduction, see what I need to add to it, look at the supporting point number 1, 2, and 3, and see what I need to add. Level 3 is just the revision paragraph level, right? So not just section level. Now you're just looking at it as how solid of a paragraph is it? Does it have a topic sentence, right? That makes an argument. And is there evidence that supports each point that I'm making, or do I need to find another quote or paraphrase or something? So that's paragraph. So you got whole essay, you've got sections of the essay. Now you've got each paragraph individually, and you're focusing on the paragraph itself, like the topic sentences, the supporting sentences, the evidence that you're going to use. And then the fourth, level 4, which is really sort of the last one that I talk about, means like sentence revisions. And this is all about trying to create flow, right? Like in your sentences. And I just reposted a thing that was there. I put this up in our discussion too. So what I tried to do and show very easily or quickly, I guess. So on this level, you're looking at sentences and you're trying to see to make sure that each sentence sort of flows and connects to the next sentence. And one of the ways you do that is you add words, or sometimes you add whole sentences, but often you just make sure you add words so that there's a connection between each sentence. So I say Steinberg argues that campuses will not be able to enforce COVID rules like mask wearing and social distancing because, this is my topic sentence, so it has because they have failed in the past to enforce other rules such as binge drinking problem. Despite this failure, okay, so, right, because I said they have failed in the past, oh, I see why it doesn't really let me have a, so I said they have failed the past, blah, blah, blah. So then I begin the next sentence with, despite this failure, Steinberg's lack of evidence and the weakness of his assumption failed to convince the reader. Okay. And then the third sentence, I say, instead of using objective evidence, right, because I use the word evidence. So it's basically like, can you make it so that you have, I mean, the easiest way to think of it is you want the same word in the first sentence, then you want that word also in the second sentence, then you want to connect it. So this is how the connection thing goes. And so you're looking at your paragraph and you're looking at from sentence to sentence. So this is in my example where everything in yellow, I changed or altered or added to in order to make it so that each sentence connects to the one after it. And so it's like it's sort of an extra thing because you might not think that you need to do this. Like I don't really need, despite the failure here. I could just, my paragraph could start Steinberg's lack of evidence and the weakness of his assumption. So I go in and I actively on purpose put in, despite this failure, because that makes it a solid connection with the sentence that just came before. Right. So you're adding words that will help make the connection. So that's the fourth level of revision, right?
This is all in discussion.
Yes. So here's what I'm trying. All you really have to do, okay, and then level 5 and 6, that's about grammar, punctuation, proofreading. So that's what those two are. So that means you go over it and you try to, or I would say use Grammarly, right? Grammarly.com, put it up there and it'll tell you what mistakes you have. So all you really need to worry about is you're going to, for this discussion post, for the first post, is you're going to say, oh, I'm on stage 1, whatever. I've only started. So I'm only on stage 1. So I'm looking at, you're basically explaining the stage, whatever stage you want to explain. And you're sort of showing that you understand what you're talking about. So if you said, I'm in stage 1 of I'm doing global revisions. And so I need to be looking at my paper as a whole, like whether it sort of connects, the introduction sort of works, is it and connects to the body paragraph, and does each of those things sort of work together, like transitions between those areas. That's my first global revision. Or if you're on section 2, you can say, I'm doing the section, I'm at level 2, I'm doing the section revision. I'm looking at each thing, introduction, and figuring out what to add to the introduction. Supporting argument number 1 and figuring out what to add to that. So that's all you're doing for the discussion week. You're just saying, here's the days and times that I'm going to work on my essay, like fix it and so on. Here are the reasons why I chose these days and times. And this is the stage I'm on at the moment. And here's what that means. What am I doing? They do also, hopefully, what insights have you gained? What changes have you made? All right. So you go, I'm on the global version and I figured out that I need to add a hook to my introduction. right? I need a beginning 2 sentences or something that will make it interesting, something.
So it doesn't need like to say specifically like each stage if we feel like our paper is good, just like some part of it need to be changed, right?
Right. Well, the thing is the idea behind this method, I don't use this method when I'm doing it, but they're trying to break down the whole process. So it's like changing your perspective and what you're looking for to change in your essay, like what you need to revise. So at first you look at it as a whole and the connections between it. Then you look at just the sections and what needs to be fixed in there. Then you look at just the paragraphs and what needs to be. So you're sort of starting very broad, and then you're checking things by getting more and more, smaller and specific. And the discussion post only really wants you to create, create a timetable for when you're going to work on your essay this week, and then why you chose those times, and then explain one of the stages, basically. And you only need to explain, and I would pick, right, you explain one that you sort of understand and that you want to talk about, right? So you could say, I'm doing a section revisions and I'm working on my introduction, and what if changes have I made? I'm going to do this or that.
Yeah, I'm saying like we don't need to say like all of them.
No,
If
no,
you
no, no,
think
no.
like more.
Nope.
Okay.
You just do one.
Mhm.
Yeah, the one that makes the most sense. And then, so that's one whole paragraph that has these 3 things in it. And then next, the second paragraph, or the second part of the post, is all about your rewards plans. And again, this is all about trying to be super specific about things. So what are the rewards? Like, what are you going to do for yourself? So describe at least 3 of your post revision level rewards. So here's how they're thinking of your life, I guess, is like after you finish the global revisions, you reward yourself, right? Because revision is tedious because you're going over in theory, because you're going over the same stuff that you've written, but you're going over it and looking for different things. So that's what can make revision difficult. So their theory is, after you look at your entire paper and try to decide if, and maybe fix transitions between paragraphs or whatever, then you give yourself a reward of some sort. Like, it can be anything, right? Going outside, eating food. I don't know. So something like that. And you're trying to be very specific about how, like, why did you pick that reward and what will it do and how will it help you? Like, does it help you relax? Does it help you have energy? Does it help you whatever? So, and they want you just to pick 3. So you're going to pick 3 types of revision, 3 levels, and you're going to explain how you're going to reward yourself after each level. At least 3, yeah. So you're just trying to be creative and thoughtful and all that stuff, but that's, it's still personal. There's no real right or wrong. And then for the follow-up, you're going to comment on one other person, right? So you're doing your 2 paragraphs, then you're going to find someone's, and you're going to comment on one. And you're basically commenting on, like, basically the thing I would do is like similarities and differences, right? Between you and what, so that person uses what to reward themselves. And you can say things like, oh, I would never think to do that. I prefer this other thing or whatever. So you're basically just comparing your own rewards stuff to somebody else. So that's the discussion post.